Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Donald Trump was in court again today, along with the writer E. Jean Carroll, the woman who a civil jury concluded, after a lengthy trial, lots of evidence, had been both sexually assaulted and then subsequently defamed by Donald Trump. They found that he sexually assaulted her and defamed her. And she is now suing for additional damages after Donald Trump continued to defame her. Today, Trump was there to do what he did in his civil trial for fraud, to basically make himself the center of attention, to upend the proceedings, to further intimidate the people trying to hold him to account. In short, to subvert the orderly working of justice. And today he was very close to being thrown out of that courtroom. More on that in a second. Before I get to that, it's worth recounting the actual details here, because it's easy for them to get overshadowed, starting 2 decades ago with an encounter in a Fifth Avenue department store and an assault in a dressing room.
The minute I was in there, he shut the door and pushed me up against the wall and bang, banged my head on the wall and kissed me. It was so shocking. So he pushed me, held me with his shoulder, and I was wearing a coat dress and tights, and he pulled down the tights. And so that's
he pulled it with both hands, with one hand?
One. And that was when it turned serious. I realized that this was a fight. It was against my will, and it hurt, and it was a fight.
That is the definition of rape. One definition.
That's the definition.
That is the definition of rape. Now, when E. Jean Carroll came forward, Trump attacked her again. He said she's a liar. She just wants fame. She's not my type. And he cannot stop being vicious and defamatory. Even after a jury sat and heard evidence and said, you did this, you monster. Day in, day out, he keeps doing it. Why is he choosing to go to court? Why is he voluntarily drawing attention to the details of this despicable act? He just won the Iowa caucuses. There are primaries ahead in New Hampshire and South Carolina. Why, in the middle of a presidential campaign, would he direct everyone's attention to a case in which he has already been found liable for sexual assault? And I think there's an answer. It ties into the by now soul-deadening discourse taking place again on the roots of Trump's political appeal, which we've all watched for 8 years. The core dynamic Trump has created is one where he is constantly playing the victim, who's always persecuted, but, and this is key, is always getting away with it anyway. He's very open in his campaign rallies about how his power comes from this combination of victimhood and impunity.
I've been indicted more than Alphonse Capone. You know who Alphonse? Greatest gangster of all time.
The greatest, right? I'm like Capone, who got away with it till he didn't. But getting away with it, that's the fantasy he is selling to so many people. A fantasy that a lot of people really want to buy into. Plenty of people daydream about what they might do in life without restraints, what they would say or do to their boss or their coworker or their sister-in-law. They want to imagine a world in which they, like Trump, can transgress in any way they want to, in which they can say whatever they want to whoever they want and not face consequences, in which they could lie, cheat, and steal, maybe even use force. It's a sort of seductive mythos, I think, particularly to a certain kind of man, as the polling bears out. Seductive mythos that he is selling, and selling openly, when he tells people, I am your retribution. And he's been selling it since the beginning of his political career 8 years ago.
They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
People laugh there, but we learned back then in 2016, this wasn't just a public campaign shtick for Trump. It's how he views himself. We learned it when he was caught on tape in private talking about how he treats women.
I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the You can do anything.
You can do anything. That is the whole game, isn't it? Consent doesn't matter. What other people want to do doesn't matter. The law doesn't matter. It's a huge part of the appeal. And so here he is in court again, a place where people are required normally to submit themselves before the power of the law. And if you've ever been on the wrong side of it, you know the power of the law in the United States is a serious thing. And how seriously did Trump take it today? Well, his lawyers started out by asking for a delay in the trial so he could attend the funeral of his mother-in-law, which the judge denied, saying Trump is under no requirement to attend the trial. He just wants to be there. That brought the first of several courtroom shouting matches.
Former President Trump, as E. Jean Carroll has been testifying, is making some side commentary that her attorneys say is within earshot of the jury.
Former President Trump had a bunch of very noticeable reactions.
He often shakes his head or mouths that's not true.
That's when Judge Kaplan, for the second time today, reminded former President Trump that he should not be making comments that the jury could hear or that even audience members could hear, and then said, "You have a right to attend. You do not have the right to be disruptive or to disregard court orders. I hope that I do not have to remove you from the courtroom."
And guess how Donald Trump responded to Judge Kaplan saying that? He said, quote, "I would love it. I would love it." Because he wants to be the victim here, mumbling under his breath, glowering at the woman he's already been found to have assaulted in a dressing room and then defamed and continuing to defame, refusing to stop defaming her, even when it brings harassment and threats down upon her, even when confronted by a judge who knows Trump is angling to be thrown out of a court proceeding. He does not even need to be attending because he wants to be a martyr. This is the central focus of his campaign, as he made clear today, again, by posting to social media, trashing the judge during the hearing. What are you going to do? The point is that what Trump believes personally about himself, and I think this is a genuine belief to the extent he has any self-awareness, and what he is selling people in the base particularly, but generally, is what he is also trying to achieve in the court and in the country, which is immunity. Complete immunity. Total supremacy over everyone and everything, even the law. And it is precisely what is so shocking about him as a person, how long, through sheer shameless and sociopathic behavior, he has been able to get away with it. It is also the reason why it is so important to bend him to the will of the law of our nation, the law that we are all, as democratic citizens, collective participants in. It's important at a moral level to hold him to account for his transgressions, like defaming the woman he sexually assaulted or trying to end the republic. It is important at a democratic level to demonstrate the supremacy of the rule of law and to show that no one is above it. But it is also supremely important politically. The moments Trump has been politically weakest are the moments when he looks like a loser, which is, in the end, what he truly, truly is. Like after January 6th failed and he could not overturn the election and he flew out of town, apparently with a bunch of classified documents. And after the 2022 midterms, when all his candidates lost and Republican Party insiders again started grumbling about Trump being an albatross around their neck. The con job he has been running his whole time in politics is that he is a winner. The guy has never actually won a national majority of the votes. Never. And now he is working on the next phase of the con job, selling the notion that even the law itself cannot hold him and cannot restrain him, that he is sovereign over it. And so there's a million reasons the law has to hold Donald Trump to account. But one of the biggest ones is to puncture the political myth of invulnerability and impunity that he is selling to his faithful base.